Okay, now we've drawn up all our component parts. We've got our base, our upright, our elbow, lampshade, lamp head, and our cable cover. I'll just rename that. We're now ready to actually assemble all our parts together into a functioning lamp, or into a model of a functioning lamp. So you'll see along the bottom here you've got an assembly tab. If that's never there, you can always add a new assembly just by clicking on this insert new element, but we've already got an assembly, so we'll click on that one. As you see, it looks very similar. However, you see that what's normally sketches turns to insert, and then we've got this series of mate connectors. Mate connectors are how we join our parts together, and we'll try and cover some of these as we go through this assembly. So it's relatively straightforward. We click on insert. You'll see it'll bring up all our component parts. We're just going to add our base first, because that's the one we want to start with. So all I do is left click on it. It'll then drop it. Again, you see it allows me to move it. I want to position it somewhere sort of central to the origin. That's this little black and white dot in the middle. And the first thing I've got to remember to do, once I've done that, is right click over it and then fix it in space. So basically you'll see that it's sort of fixed around this origin now. I can still move it on the page, but I can't move it away from this origin. It's really important you do that on your first part. So we've got our first part fixed. We're then going to add our upright part. So once I've done that, I then go to upright. So I'm already in the insert parts bit anyway, so click on upright, and you can see it'll then drop that in. Again, try not to drop it in the right place. You need to give yourself a bit of space to be able to see all the different views and everything. So I'm just going to drop it behind, and then we need to think about how we actually assemble this. So if you're thinking you're doing this for real, what you'd want to do is align this bottom face here, basically attach it to this top face, so align them. We'd want these screw holes here to align with the bottom section here, and we want the back to be sort of aligned somewhere here. And again, how we can do that is quite quick actually in Onshape. Again, previously you've had to do all them separately, but we can do this what we call a fasten mate. So we can do it so once it's fixed in place, it has no degrees of movement. You can see as well when I hover over all these different mates, if I leave anything over for about 2 seconds, it gives me a little explanation of what I need to do. So like I say, we're going to start on fastened mate, and I'll try and help show you how that works. So click on that. I'm going to select the bottom face. So I'm just going to rotate around. I'm going to select the bottom face. So you can see if I zoom in, you can see I can select the bottom face, but I can also move this sort of, looks a bit like a timer. Whilst I'm there, I can move this what we call the mate connector to anywhere on our bottom face. What we want is our mate connector to be exactly, if I zoom in, so in the middle of our little notch cutout. If you imagine that mate connector is like a big blob of glue, wherever I put that blob of glue, it'll glue to the other mate connector, you'll see in a minute, on the other part. So I'm going to keep it exactly in the middle, and then have that bottom edge. So I click on it, so I've right clicked, and then go turn my top round. So again, you can see here, I can select the top face, and again, I can select centre of holes, I can select midpoints, all that type of thing. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select the top face. So let me just zoom out so you can see that top face. Again, you can do any face, but make sure it's the top face, and I want that mate connector to be aligned right on that midpoint of that edge there. You'll see that'll bring our work somewhere near, but you'll see, well, that's not quite right. What we can do, however, so we actually want to shift this across here a little bit. So we're going to use this offset function here. So if I click that, you can see I can start putting some dimensions in. And again, we want to move the whole of this piece along this green y-axis. So what I can do, if you see there, I can put in a measurement there. So we might start off with 25mm. Again, if I click on this little play button, it's going to give me a preview of where that wants to be. So you can see that's going to drop and move back our parts so that the holes are basically in the centre of where we need it to be. So we're happy with that at the moment, so we'll click on the tick box, and you'll see that's fixed that in position. So I can't actually move that, I can't slide it anywhere, I can't rotate it. That is basically like been glued in place. So that's our first part done. Once I've done that, I'm then going to move on to invert again. Once I've done one bit, always wants me to do a second one, so you just click off this one, and then going to insert the cable cover. So again, similar method, select it, try and move it out the way, and we're going to do a similar type of thing. I'm going to do it slightly different because it's a bit easier. So again, I'm going to do this fasten make because I don't want it to rotate. This time, again, we need this slot, must have been at the back, so I'm going to select this edge, this face here, but I want the make connector to be right at this bottom corner here. Yeah, so I click on that. So again, imagine this make connector is where everything's going to align and glue up. Click on that one, and then go to our back panel, and again I want to select this back face, but I want the make connector to be right in this bottom corner. So them two make connectors will align. You'll see it then drops it in the correct place for us. So that's a relatively straightforward one. Just click on the tick box, click on the red cross on there, because we've then added that section on there. So we've got them two parts absolutely fixed and assembled so far. That's so stage one of our assembly completed.